All right, welcome back. Now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, Serap, has vowed to sue the federal government should it proceed to implement the proposed 114% salary increment for elected office holders in the country. The group wants President Bola Ahmed to urgently reject the proposed outrageous increase of salaries of elected public office holders. It also threatened to sue the Nigerian government over the 24 billion naira voted by the government to be spent on accommodation of the 10th National Assembly members. Well, in a short statement on its Twitter handle, Serap on Wednesday said, and I quote, "The Tinubu administration must reject the outrageous proposals to raise the salaries of elected politicians by 114% and spend 24 billion naira on accommodation for 10th National Assembly members, who will see in court if the proposals are not immediately withdrawn." End quote. Now, the chairman of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission said on Tuesday that the salaries of politicians, judicial and public office holders will be increased by 114%. Mohammed Shehu spoke through a representative at the presentation of the reports of the reviewed remuneration package to Nasiru Idris, governor of Kebbi State. Now let's bring in our guest. We have in-house analyst Cyril Abaku joining us for this conversation, and then another guest might just join us in the course of the program. Cyril, welcome once again.
Thank you.
Now, when you heard this increment in salaries of politicians at this time, knowing what the country is going through, yes, they want to probably a palliative measure for them, but Labour, TUC, still in talks with the government to provide palliatives for Nigerians to cushion the effect of subsidy removal and other things bedeviling the country at this time. What came to your mind?
No, I'm glad you even began with this, with the analogy of Labour and federal government. The NLC will be disappointing me if by the end of today they don't revise the proposal of minimum wage from 150,000 naira to 500,000 naira.
Boy, okay.
The TUC put its own.
Is that achievable?
Is 114% achievable? If you can pay governors and pay the president, you can pay Nigerians. Rest assured, you can pay Nigerians. It means you're confident. The people at the Rmafc, there are mathematicians there are accountants there are statisticians there are data analysts there are people who with all sorts of qualifications, financial experts, banking, all sorts of things that they are there. If they have done the math that Mr. President and his court and the governors and the vice president and judges can earn in addition to what they're
earning already,
a whooping 114%. What is us for the goose is us for the gander. I believe we can. You know, the saying is, if you believe you can. Have faith, all things are possible. So if Rmafc has done the math and believe that they can pay the highest income earners in this country, not a 50% wage rise, not a quarter of what they're earning, they want to award them a salary increase of more than 100%. That is that not like saying 114 times of what they're earning? If you can do it for them, you can do it for us. So that's how I want to begin. Then that you have the powers enshrined in the Constitution to do a thing does not automatically award the practicality of doing that thing on you. That's why the debate now will come. Because what we had Rmafc say in Kebbi, is it Kebbi now, was that this increase is effective the 1st of January 2023. The question is, has it already been effected and we are being told? Or it will be effected now and be backdated to that time? So the woman who spoke, I am not sure she spoke speculatively. I think there was a definitive tone because she was presenting a report to a governor, representing the head of a commission. So let's leave it there. That's how I will open my answer. Let's leave it there, and let's observe what now becomes of the conversation, because I've also read where the spokesman of the commission was being interviewed, and I didn't know whether he was speaking to the right or speaking to the left. But you've asked me how do I chime in on it. My opening is to say that Labour should now go back and increase minimum wage agitated from 150 or 200,000 to 500,000. I think Nigeria can pay it. If you can pay them, you can pay us too.
I'm trying to get the response of the spokesperson, get what he said, but I can't lay my hands on it now. But when he was asked by some media practitioners, he said, take it as you see it. I don't want to be misquoted. It wasn't an outright denial. He didn't say, oh no, it's not true. What you're hearing is not true. How can we increase the salaries of politicians at this time? No, that was not what he said. What he said was more in line of, I don't want to be misquoted. Take it the way you see it. And then, where does that leave the common man? Let's talk about the common man now. Where does that leave the common man who is struggling to make daily bread? Common man who is struggling with, getting enough money to purchase fuel. And then having this thought in his head that those that he voted into power to represent him are going home with Ghana must go bags.
Moses, there is what I call the politics of public communication. I'm glad you made reference to what the spokesman of the commission said. I have his quote here, if I may.
Oh, great.
He said, not my chairman, not my chairman. My chairman has never made any statement on it. Now, this is even very funny. Is he the spokesperson of the chairman of the commission? Or is the spokesperson of the commission? And I think decent language should be like, not the chairman of the commission, not my chairman, not my chairman. That's the first thing. Number two is the fact that he said, my chairman has never made any statement on it. And I have not made any statement on it. No statement from chairman, no statement from me. So I don't know. I had one of the commissioners said it. I don't want to be quoted. Now, I think that before somebody as high ranking as a commissioner in a commission goes to speak on behalf of the body, whatever the person is going to say to the public should have been vetted by the spokespersons of that commission. It's standard practice. The INEC, before the elections took place, INEC said the whole lot to their commissioners. There's a commissioner for public enlightenment first, okay? There was another commissioner, I think, from one of the northern states who made one of the announcements before election day. Okay? It is normal in government that sometimes after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council, the president's spokesman may brief, one of the ministers will also brief. You don't expect that the president will be the one to brief the country every time FEC meets. It's not possible. The briefings always come from ministers. It could be Minister of Health, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Housing, Minister of Roads and Transport. So to say that what a commissioner said, and he said, I had one of the commissioners said, I think that the decent thing to have done is to say, excuse me, if somebody as weighty and as important as a commissioner made a comment like this, can I go and check with her or with him what the person said, clarify, and then come back and talk to it? He didn't say that. We are all journalists. He didn't say that. You're with me, sir? He didn't say that. He should have said, can you give me time? If a commissioner made a comment like this, I think as a commissioner spokesperson, it is your duty to monitor the media and to hear and monitor the media and control what is said from your side, and monitor to know what others are saying to your side. So you are the manager of the traffic, so that if anything is said out there that's not right, it is your duty to help the public understand what the facts, the way they should be understood. But this man is saying, I had one of the commissioners said something like that. This is not, if I may, okay.
Let me take this part of it. It says, no approval yet. There is no approval.
I was going
yet.
to come to that anyway.
Okay. I don't know the source of that story. Everything is under the process.
So this is the thing.
It does not come as a bill for Mr. President to assent. Everything is under the process, not a process.
Yes. So which means that he didn't deny that what the woman said was a lie. He didn't deny that what the commissioner said was. He didn't deny what the commissioner said. Some of what he's saying now is that it is under the process.
The process.
The process.
The process.
The process.
Definitive.
Which means that when this bill becomes law, because I don't know what it means by the process. I honestly don't know if the process is that because even him saying the president has not assented to it, I don't know what that means. What this means is that, assuming that the authorized signature has been appended to this document or the documents, we will now go back to January 1, 2023, and begin to pay, President Buhari, former President Oshibajo, former governors, and start paying lawmakers and jumbo pay.
Those ones from
just free money, jumbo pay, a whopping 114% increase. That's like Nigeria is saying, you didn't take enough, you didn't take, and so then the question is, where are they getting these monies from? Because the other headline you read said that we cannot continue to borrow. A country with such a huge debt burden does not have leaders whose consciences are burdened with the demands of paying back those loans. We are talking about increasing. I hope this president will quickly distance himself from this thing and denounce and say he's not interested in it and that they should not do it. Because this same, look, what they have even taken as, you remember when we talk about jumbo pay as pension for governors? These people make this country look like a serious joke. People who have already taken jumbo pay. The other day we saw how they went to Governor Matawale's compound and we are taking out SUVs. Somebody was even saying on this show that President Buhari did the same thing. When they leave office, they park all the cars and go with it. How is it that you go into office and this is what we call primitive acquisition? You've taken millions and billions. Your states are owing salaries. Your states are impoverished. You came into office. You couldn't and didn't improve the revenue profile of your state, its productivity, its creativity. You didn't add any value, and you're leaving. You're taking jumbo pay with you, and while you are in your house, they are calling and saying, "Okay, you didn't take enough. You still need to come and take more."
Yesterday, the news broke that ASU is saying that they might go on strike if the salaries that were withheld are not paid. Now, that's another issue. If you now juxtapose ASU complaining that what was due unto them was withheld because they were on strike at the time, and government was saying, okay, because you embarked on strike, fighting for your rights, your salaries would not be paid. Now, hearing that the government that deprived paying ASU might now collect extra money if this is implemented. If it is implemented, that government might collect extra money. Now, those that have also stayed in power, those that have come into power, and those that have remained will continue collecting extra money. How does that make the young Nigerian feel?
It makes him feel extremely bad, makes him feel extremely disappointed, makes him feel extremely see himself as an outsider, makes him feel like he does not have a part in the patrimony. So these are the ones that can take to the street, that can take to arms, that can commit fraud, that can do all sorts of things. But my problem in this country has been more with the intellectual class, because they are the buffer between the super rich and the extreme poor.
Why so?
They are the middle class. They are the intellectually mobile people. They are the ones who have the ideas that can help to.
Why do you have a problem with them?
Well, not that I have a problem against them, but but I have a problem with the fact that as early as the 1970s was when this thing you call brain drain began to slowly appear, but people didn't take good notice of it. because apparently some statutory things were still happening, things were still going on well. But at this level, at this point, JAPA didn't begin today. So when the people who have the brains and a bit of the bronze to change a country are giving up on that environment, are giving up on our society, that society is doomed. We have billionaires who don't have companies. You know what I mean? Who don't have up to 10 people in their employ. And they're billionaires in this country. They live in big houses. So something is fundamentally wrong. When I hear us going on, I don't blame them anymore. You know, I've said it here before that I would rather, because to side with Nigerian government officials, you don't know what you're getting into. Even this Rmafc thing, it is now the spokesman who is telling us that the president has not assented. The woman didn't say it was it was assented to. What I read was that it was effective January 1. Mm-hmm. That's what we had. I don't know what the spokesman is saying. And do you sincerely believe that I will believe him? I cannot believe him. Because 3 months from now, you may hear that, no, they made a mistake, that actually the president Buhari has already accepted. You may hear one funny story. So
it's not on the table of this administration. Now, it wasn't this. That can fly.
God bless you. Now, this is exactly the problem I have with. So when ASU now comes to say, you must pay us our money or we'll go on strike, should I sincerely? I feel for the educational system. But the problem I have with it is that for a very long time, the system has been allowed to decay and to rot. And so, a government that will not pay university teachers, who are the custodians of our civilization, who are the custodians of the ideas that should move this country forward, when you want to staff them and won't pay them, do you expect them to give their best in classes, in the classroom? University people in university are still using phone torchlight to be learning. Rechargeable lantern for master students. These are people that are going to build the country of our dreams. The government can't build anything. It is people that build their country. So when we see these things happen, I just feel that you are weakening the intellectual class. That's what I'm coming to. You're weakening us. You're weak. Half of them. There was a lecturer, one of the lecturers that taught me one of my programs. He alone is in this country, PhD holder. He has attended a lot of international conferences. His wife and family are not in Nigeria, they're overseas. That's a problem. If these men don't believe in the country they are helping to build, why then should I submit myself for them to claim that they're building me to build this country? So this is the point. Pay ASU, please, just pay them up. If sincerely ASU can go on strike for another 2, 3, 4 months under this president, then I think whatever vestige of hope I have in him would have been eroded, because I believe that he has what it takes. You see how they've handled the subsidy thing. No palliatives in place, but NLC is willing to have conversations. No, so I hope that this magic wand is wielding. He will be able to wield it in all the sectors. And pay ASU up. You can owe NLC, but don't owe ASU. Pay them. Because this is where ideas are born. If you're not able to, do you know that in many sectors, in many professions, when universities produce people today, and this has been on for a long time, companies have to hire and retrain. Because the classroom, the schools, they've lost touch.
That's correct.
They've lost touch. Should I blame ASU? ASU is only a union. The schools then belongs to the federal government of Nigeria. They've lost touch. How then can we begin to rebuild confidence, So somebody who is teaching in Harvard, teaching in South Africa, teaching in London will see lecturers being old and he will prefer to come to Nigeria. So when I say that my challenge, my problem, maybe I use the wrong word, the challenge I have with Nigeria is that we have not treated the intellectual class as we ought to treat it. Now, a lot of people will be waiting. If they will call me to go to Abuja and take an appointment, why shouldn't I even go? Because they don't owe them. I've never had a federal government owing board directors at FAN or Minister of Transport anywhere. They don't owe those people now, but they owe lecturers. And they will not develop the schools. So when we hear these things, I think it gives us, it should give us goosebumps, especially if you know that except you have planned to change nationality, but if Nigeria is your country, sometimes you feel like, I don't want to talk again, but at other times you'll be forced to still speak. Because the more things appear to be changing, the more, honestly speaking, Mr. President needs to rein these people in. We shouldn't be hearing this sort of things coming out.
Are you privy to how often salaries of political office holders should be increased?
Well, I don't. But I do know that the work is not even with the commission itself.
Okay.
It is with the National Assembly. Because they are the ones who make, they are the ones who fix, who make the law. They can amend that Rmafc law today if they want to do that. They are, when we say lawmakers are earning humongous salaries, who fixes it? It is the Senate.
Themselves.
They themselves fix those things. So the oversight, if these people mean well for Nigeria, they should have an emergency session. No, but it's true. They can do that. It's doing that. And summon the commission to come and explain exactly where we are with this announcement that came out on Tuesday. That's how you know that these people are working for Nigerians. If they won't do that, you just know that, that they have to play ball and do business as usual. So, but summon them immediately and say, come and explain. Nigerians are not happy with what they just had you say in Kebbi. Come and give us explanation. But it's true.
But that cannot, that can't happen. That can't happen.
Summon them and say, come and explain to us. Come and tell us what you mean by, and overrule it. The end goal is to overrule it, to say, until further communications. Now, the question you should even ask is, all of us should be asking is, what was the process that led to the 114% increase in salaries? A lot of people don't seem to know. Because a lot of times, what do you call it now? The conversations and the processes leading up to government policy changes and so on are not usual. You just, out of the blues, you just have something has happened. And you'll be wondering and asking, really? When? How? Where? What? That discussion is just to keep the public busy while they go about doing whatever it is that they have in mind to do. So it's bad enough that it is bad. But should it get worse? No, it shouldn't get worse. The Senate the National Assembly should wake up now, because they are there to represent us. All of us can't come together to form a People's Assembly. The National Assembly is there as
Okay, now for Serap.
Yes.
Serap saying that it will take the president to court if this is actualized. And we also know that judges are part of those to benefit from this. If it happens,
yes.
Do you think there will be succor for Serap?
They could get relief. I think there's something they call the triangle, the triangle, romantic triangle. I think in movies, in filmmaking, this looks like a romantic triangle. Judges are to benefit. They are the National Assembly are to benefit from it. They make the law. The executive arm of government is to benefit from it. They are the ones to sign and approve. And the money will be paid to judges too. Then the judges are the ones who they apparently didn't need to play any role in the drama. They were just to sit down and have their phones buzzing with alert entry. But now all three of them are on trial. So when the matter goes to court, not only will the National Assembly and the executive be on trial, I think even the judges themselves, judiciary will also be on trial in its own case. But the reality is, I think the judiciary does not really entertain issues based on what they think. It will be based on the arguments brought to court by the
parties involved.
Yeah, by parties involved. So if Serap is able to go to court and make a good case for itself, I think that it should stand. We were supposed to have the deputy director of Serap with us this morning. Unfortunately, we are not able to get him. But it would have been good to also understand the gamut of the argument that they are supposed to present to the to the judges. And I must commend this group, because it appears that they are the only ones who are now standing with Nigerians. A lot of those civil society organizations and people who have shouted in the past 10 to 15 years, we don't seem to hear anything about them anymore. Serap has been steadfast, has been consistent in going to court from case to, on matters like this, socioeconomic rights. Because the matter is, there are two sides of to the issue, Moses. There is justice, as we know it to be legal justice. That is, the justice you go to court to get. There's justice. But there is also what philosophers have called social justice. These are two different types of justice. Social justice is talking about not human rights, but people's rights. Which is to say that a society that is flowing with abundant wealth, like Nigeria, should not have children who are out of school when the state has the power to enroll them. As a member of that society, it is your social right. That's where socioeconomic rights come in. That you have a social right. For as long as you are a member, valid, bona fide member of that society, there are certain rights that must accrue to you. These are the rights that are enshrined in Chapter 2 of the Constitution that government said you cannot go to court to enforce. Maternal mortality should be a right. Healthcare should be a right to an extent. Education should be a right. Housing should be a right. All these should be rights enshrined and enforceable by law. Because you know what? An uneducated child is a danger, is a risk.
Oh, yes.
To that society. But we have a government that only gives us figures. They say there are 15.3 million children who are out of school in Nigeria, and after that, nothing is said of it again. Okay? And where does government money go to? Increase the salaries of government officials. The president is wealthy enough. If he can, he should not take salaries as president. But because, of course, he has the money. As an individual, he should not even take salaries if he can. To set as an example, the time has come for us to imbibe selflessness in public service. This is the only way to make Nigerians see and accept that there's a new order in town. I know the president is a strategist. He may have other ways of trying to achieve that, but a personal example matters a lot. If you can set the ball rolling, others will buy in.
All right, then. That's how far we can drag this conversation. The president is in France, and he's there to look for money. That's how we look at it. He's there to look for money. That's how we choose to put it. Well, we'll have this conversation in a short while. Stay with us. It's still VOP this morning. We'll be back in a bit.